So, I mean, the biggest thing that we're working on is is kind of above the protocol. It's this consumer wallet for people to actually use Stellar, which I'm pretty excited about. It's essentially, you can kind of think of it like a global Venmo, where it's allows you to do cross-border payments, save money in dollars in places where they have really high inflation, things like that. So it should be really useful for people, and it's got a really awesome UI and it doesn't really expose the fact that you're using crypto, which I think is cool.
Hello, everyone. I, just like many of you guys, have been paying attention to what's put out in the press. Ripple XRP. The SEC is going after it once again. The appeal. Ripple is going to get drug out until 2026, maybe even further from that. So, while Stellar will have a lot of emphasis in this outline, the person that we're going to pay attention to is Jed McCaleb because of his background with Ripple and, of course, his background with Stellar. And moving forward, this key company, and that is UDPN, and why they matter. Because there were some recent developments that didn't really properly get the press/media attention with all that retail FUD in regards to what's going on with Ripple and the SEC. You, me, and everybody else that hold these particular assets, we originally got into it because it's the dream of future generational wealth. But we were introduced the concept of the institutional players and why they select Ripple XRP, why they select Stellar XLM. Let's still keep our eyes on the reasons for that. So with this deep dive, I'd like to advise you to smash that like if you haven't done so already. And more importantly, understand to not lose your eyes on the prize due to giving into emotions about what's going on over here. Because, let's face it, we might be distracted on what these guys, institutions, are doing over there. Shout out to Coach JV of the 3T Warriors Academy. He's always mentioned those distractions. I would agree with him on that. So, I didn't see anybody reporting on this, and if there was, hey, awesome. I thought I'd bring it to you guys because I decided to get into the weeds about all of this. Consider sticking to the end of the outline. Choose to do so. There will be chapters. Let's jump into it. First thing we're going to start off with is this old interview from Jed McCaleb. Why? Well, I want you guys to pay attention to some of the key things. He is going to mention numerous times, whether it's with Charlie Shrem or some other interviews of the past, this concept of a universal payments network. Now, if you understand UDPN, you already know where I'm going with that. Let's jump into it. These clips. Then we'll come right back. Eye on the prize. Never forget about it. Here we go.
I remember when I had first understood Ripple, and you first explained it to me, I understood it as this, is a way for people to extend social credit to each other. So it seemed like, and that was like how I first kind of got it, when Chris came in and he was able to expand on it. So that focuses on like the person. Is Stellar more focused on corporations and companies and banks and working together at a protocol level, and you think Ripple is more like person to person?
Well, I think Ripple is actually more focused on replacing like Swift essentially, but Stellar it's basically the main thing is interoperability, right? Like I think the fact that you could do this social credit on Stellar, but I think it's hard to do in practice because it's really changing the behavior of people. So I think maybe that'll come down the line. But the first thing that I think it's very useful for is just this interoperability story where it's like you have. Right now, the way payments work in the world, it's very much pre-internet. Like none of these systems talk to each other. Like ACH doesn't talk to M-Pesa, the mobile money thing in Kenya, things like that, right? But Stellar gives them a way to do this, where they can basically, it doesn't matter what financial institution you're using or what kind of currency you're using. All these things just can interoperate seamlessly, right? And that's kind of the beauty of it.
But that's like the last. That's like step 20. If I was talking to you, I'd say, Jed, you're like going from step 1 or step 2 to step 20, because what you just described and what your goal for Stellar is literally like almost for me the end all be all of financial products, is a way for anyone to have a financial product anywhere in the world and to plug into the global financial product ecosystem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is step 20 to get everyone on board, but it's not, it is actually very near term, and it's already happening on the network where it's in these like local areas, like, you know, like now people can send money back and forth between Europe and Nigeria because there's a company in Nigeria that's on Stellar and there's a company in Europe that's on Stellar. And so these companies are interoperable, and any other company that joins just becomes part of this network, right? And so it is nascent, but it is still useful like today, right?
So a global financial ecosystem, okay? Think about that for a second. Jumping into the next part and why it's important. Check this out, another particular clipping. I'm gonna take you over here. This is from a person that I think a lot of you guys follow. His name is Anthony Pompliano. And in this particular one, I jumped to this key area. And I want you to also think about this because it's also Jed McCaleb being featured here, okay? Listen to this, see how it ages, come right back. Here we go.
When we kind of fast forward here, we say, okay, we're basically giving people the tools to build all kinds of stuff that they want to build, and you're really focused, I think, on making sure those tools work and operate correctly. How do you think about where we're headed, right? 10 years from now, is this a world where every stock, bond, currency, commodity is digitized and it's on these networks and like it's kind of the Bitcoinization of the world and tokenization of the world, or is it something that maybe isn't as audacious in terms of kind of that final state or next decade or so?
Yeah. So I mean, I do think like that most things will have like some digital representation. I mean, it just makes so much more sense, and it's easier. And like, if you've ever sent payments with cryptocurrency, pay for something online, then you have to go use a credit card. It's just so annoying. You have to enter all the details and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's just so much nicer, right? So I do think that we're going to move that direction. And I think there is some limit to it, and there will still like people, like the general like population probably doesn't want to deal with their own secret key, and it's probably not safe for them to think like that. So there will have to be like solutions around that'll end up looking not that different than what we have. Like, there'll probably be things like a global Venmo, things like that. But the user experience will be very similar to what they're used to now. It'll just have more capabilities than what they can do today, right? And so I think all of that is really good. But yeah, I mean, I think it will be. We're still a long way to go, like I said, for it to be like where there's like millions of people using crypto every day for their everyday lives. But I think we will get there.
Once again, that mentioned a global Venmo. Okay, now check this out. Gonna come over to another particular clipping, and this is a demo session. If you guys are really the hardcore Jed McCaleb fanatics, you've already seen this. So, gonna pull this up as well. Stellar, an open protocol for payments. And as you see in the illustration, mentioned specifically the US dollars, Stellar network, and then, for example, going over to the next counterparty, right? I fast forwarded to this area. I know this is for 2017, but I'm telling you flat out, you will see how this all ages. And a lot of people, I don't think hardly anybody reported what's going on with UDPN. Let's go ahead and play this. Here we go.
Again, what we wanted to achieve here was a universal payment network that doesn't matter if your financial institution is a bank, a mobile money operator, if you're holding one currency and the person wants to receive another, all of these systems should be interoperable. And so that's what Stellar is. It's an open protocol for payments. So that's great. So we kind of technically solve these problems. There's still some, again, what we're running to do is connect all these different financial institutions together. So we need a way to have a common addressing scheme between participants, right? So we came up with this scheme called payment addresses. It's very similar to email addresses, obviously. And what it allows you to do is, rather than give your bank account number to somebody, because that's like this clumsy system and it's actually not safe, instead you can give this kind of human readable payment address, and it's much easier to deal with. So here's kind of an example of that in practice. So here's this bank's hypothetical mobile wallet where their customer wants to send to their friend Chang in China. So they enter in Chang's payment address, changstarwechat.com. They're given this exchange rate. If they accept it, a couple of seconds later, the euros are deducted from their account, and Chang has yuan in his account. And there's some market maker person in the middle that now is holding more euro and less yuan, right? So the Stellar network is much bigger than Stellar.org, where I work. It's a collection of, it's a whole ecosystem of companies that are kind of coming together to make this possible. Here's a few examples of the people that are working with us. There's a lot more that are still not ready to announce, but will be coming out soon. So the implications of some network like Stellar are pretty broad, right? So what we're essentially creating is an internet for payments, right? So much like the internet democratized information, or democratized access to and the creation of information, Stellar will provide not only financial inclusion but a economic participation for all these for anyone in the world, right? It opens it up much wider. So you can imagine like some kid in a basement in Indonesia can now make an app and sell it to anyone on the world for $1, which is just simply not possible right now. And so it has a lot of ramifications, which should be pretty cool, right? So I often am asked, like, will technologies like Stellar or Bitcoin or any of these emerging things, will they destroy banks, or are they going to like displace these existing payment networks, things like this? I don't think so. I think there's always going to be a place for banks. I mean, people want to put their money somewhere. People need loans, things like this. Like, banks serve a useful function. But I do think what like the internet and what things like Stellar do is they give you a lot of leverage and they give you a lot of scale. So I think we'll see a similar phenomenon to, for instance, there used to be very many booksellers, but now there's just Amazon, right? There used to be a lot of taxi services, now there's just Uber. There's now lots of banks and different payment networks in the world, but now in the future, there will probably be a great deal of consolidation. And so
Okay, everybody, this area, this is why I'm pausing it. The bottom left, many banks and payment services, and then the question marks. Now, of course, I'm going to spill the beans here, but I'm making a case for you guys. I don't want to just make a quick 30-second thing. All right, maybe that's what some people want on a YouTube short. That's not what this channel is about. As I get further into it, this is going to age also well, because when we jump on over to this, remember how I mentioned the whole thing about UDPN? Yeah, look at this. This also is another interview with Jed McCaleb, and what's important here is what it says. Designing a universal payment network with you, Jed McCaleb. Now, I have fast forwarded to this key area. Listen to this as well. This is also very, very good, especially if you hold Stellar. Here we go.
as I started to learn more about how payments work in the world, it just became really clear to me that there needed to be this universal payment network, right? There needed to be essentially a way that no matter what financial institution you use, whether you're at a bank or like some mobile money thing or like Venmo or whatever, or you know, you're using one currency and someone else is using another, all of these things should be interoperable, right? It should work like the internet does. So the analogy we always use is basically the SMTP is the underlying protocol for email, right? And it basically means where you don't have to care if, you know, somebody's at a university or a company or whatever, as long as they're running a mail server, you can send a message to them, right? And the same should be true of payments, I think. And so that's what Stellar is designed to be, is this universal payment network, essentially.
Again, think about some of the terminology. Universal payment network. Let's get to the next part. Let's take you over to the UDPN, finally, right? Let's pull this up on your screen. As you can see right here, here's the UDPN. And some of you guys that are the hardcore fanatics that follow this, you know, you might be a researcher yourself, you already know about the UDPN. So, a little taste of things to come in another video. Constant references to interoperability. This is not a quant video, but in the quant video that I'm going to do here within the next day or so, I'm going to present to you guys my hypothesis on that interoperability layer that Jed McCaleb is talking about, especially with UDPN, because let's face it, a lot of FUD out there saying, look at quants competitors. Okay, so there's just a little taste of things to come. Let's jump into this. Why it matters? Because again, like it says, interoperable payments infrastructure for regulated digital currencies of tomorrow. More importantly, what is the UDPN? Well, the UDPN is the most advanced interoperable global payments network for regulated digital currencies, including regulated stablecoins and central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Now, this part, I will give you a clue. Pay close attention to what I'm going to share with you later on when it comes to that plug of the CBDCs. The UDPN promotes financial inclusion by allowing enterprises worldwide to connect with centralized and decentralized digital currency systems directly. Yeah, digital currency systems. Now think about that for a second, okay? So UDPN has a business node that provides a single gateway for any financial institution or enterprise to transact directly with all the digital currencies onboarded to the UDPN. In a nutshell, the UDPN is truly a big deal. But what do they have that was posted recently? I mean, if anything, that might be why you're listening today. Well, we see UDPN all-in-one digital currency sandbox posted September 8, 2024. I'm telling you flat out, I have scoured CryptoX. Didn't really see a lot of things being posted about this because you have to keep in mind, in a world, like it says, where 130 countries are exploring central bank digital currencies and private institutions, well, they're innovating, right? And it's the whole use of tokenized deposits, stablecoins, and so on. They need a robust platform to test and develop these technologies, and it's critical. That's where UDPN all-in-one digital currency sandbox comes in. So I'm going to actually play this for you guys, and then we'll connect the rest. Thanks for staying the course. I'm telling you flat out, it'll be worth your while. Here we go.
Today, over 130 countries, representing 98% of global GDP, are in various stages of exploring central bank digital currencies. Many top-tier private financial institutions have also launched their tokenized deposits, stablecoin, and digital asset initiatives. However, introducing a brand new monetary system is a considerable undertaking that requires extensive simulation and rigorous testing. To fully prepare central and commercial banks for the rollout of CBDCs and other forms of e-money, we present the UDPN all-in-one digital currency sandbox, the industry's leading one-stop platform for exploring these new financial technologies. After nearly 3 years of development and proofs of concept testing with global leaders across multiple industries, our sandbox now supports all forms of regulated digital currencies with a comprehensive library of pre-built use cases. Businesses and institutions will have hands-on opportunity to experience, learn, develop, and manage the entire life cycle of digital money in an innovative environment provided by UDPN.
The UDPN digital currency all-in-one sandbox is available in 2 versions, one for central banks and one for commercial banks. Financial services institutions can deploy the sandbox on-premise and invite stakeholders to jointly test digital currency systems and applications. Participants can simulate various roles, such as central or commercial banks, and build customized use cases based on the ready-to-use sandbox environment and open APIs. Let's use the central bank version as a demonstration. In this version, the central bank role can onboard commercial banks to join their sandbox environment to build and test different use cases. The standard sandbox includes 3 digital currency systems: tokenized deposit system, distributed RCBDC system, and wholesale CBDC system for both domestic and cross-border settlements. In the tokenized deposit system, the central bank deploys a set of smart contracts for each commercial bank. Each bank has full control over its respective tokenized deposit system and can manage wallets, link wallets to core banking systems, and view transaction records. The retail CBDC system is directly controlled by the central bank, which can mint or melt CBDCs in its depository account and issue them to commercial banks' master wallets. Commercial banks can distribute CBDCs to end-user wallets via banking operations, such as conversions and loans. Transactions between 2 end users from 2 different commercial banks can be settled within the retail CBDC system instantly, without interbank settlements at the central bank level. The wholesale CBDC system connects multiple independent wholesale CBDC systems and provides foreign exchange and liquidity services for both domestic and cross-border interbank settlements. Each central bank controls its own system and manages commercial bank wall, which can connect to various CBDC wholesale systems to achieve interoperability. The wholesale CBDC system is linked with a simulated RTGS in the sandbox to enhance settlement efficiency. The use cases in the Use Case Center are pre-built via open APIs and illustrate how business systems can leverage digital currency systems in the sandbox to create innovative money transfer and settlement services. As the most powerful digital currency sandbox in the world, our pricing starts at $15,000 per month. Our goal is to lower the entry barrier to digital currency exploration and empower all private and public entities, not just central and commercial banks, to participate in the next major currency revolution. In terms of security, our sandbox provides ultimate protection by operating within your on-premise IT infrastructure, ensuring issuers retain full control over their currency system testing. Our sandbox is an unparalleled tool for advancing your regulated digital currency initiatives beyond the white paper stage to enable hands-on development of new and innovative use cases, applications, and services.
We invite central banks, commercial banks, and enterprises to contact us how the sandbox can accelerate your organization's journey to the future of payments and financial services. With the UDPN all-in-one digital currency sandbox, you're not just preparing for the future, you're shaping it.
Okay, just a tad bit more before we get you to the finish line about this. What about IBM? Check this out. Let's pull this up on your screen as well. So IBM has this thing about IBM's universal payment solution. If you were to go to luminos.com, you can find out more about it. But like it says, IBM's universal payment solution, this is key value for IBM because it provides its, solutions to DLT clients, but it allows banks to quickly clear and settle cross-border transactions on one single network. Back to that whole thing about one single network. Interesting. Also, jump down to the middle part because look what it mentions here. IBM provides members of Advanced Pacific Financial Infrastructure for inclusion. And they have a, quote, payment initiation, compliance verification, foreign exchange and settlement for as real-time, cascading steps for each transaction, but using IBM's universal payment solution and instructions laid out in the smart contracts on Hyperledger Fabric, payments are settled on the Stellar network, becoming immutable and final once recorded. Universal payment solution on the Stellar network obviously is live, more than just the South Pacific. But again, what do you see? Constant references about this universal payment solution. So I jump to this next part. I want you guys to understand this because sometimes you guys point out, well, a lot of talk about what Stellar is going to do, but what about this token or coin I bought called the XLM, the Lumen? Well, are you aware of what it actually does? Lumens are at the heart of the whole Stellar cross-border transaction experience. It allows the creation of a digital representation of the US dollar or any other currency. The lumens are used to represent a dollar when it is transacted between parties. Now again, think about the part about the dollar. Think about the part I mentioned when it came to the whole thing about CBDCs earlier. Because as I take you to the next part of why this is important, straight from Investopedia once again, while it may seem similar, or I should say, while it may seem that Stellar Lumens is nothing but a protocol for digital currency payments, it is actually more than that. Stellar describes itself as a universal system for digital money and can serve as a medium of exchange between illiquid assets. And as I jump over to here, what you will also see is this that was reported earlier last month from coinspeaker.com. Universal Digital Payments Network, UDPN, expands reach with Australian digital dollar integration. Now, why am I pointing this out? Oh man, it's going to get really, really good because what you're going to see here is that while the AUDD is its latest edition, it goes without saying that the UDPN has been quite keen on boosting the global digital currency ecosystem. This statement, back to who, everybody? Jed McCaleb mentioning some of those things, and I get it. Some people are like, well, that's common terminology. I'm telling you flat out, stay the course. It gets really good because UDPN is to bridge the gap with the regulated stablecoins. We understand, for example, the whole thing of, basically speaking, stablecoins for Ripple XRP with RLUSD and especially Stellar, right? Absolutely. So just in case you didn't see this, what do we see here in regards to it all? We see right down here, plain as day, that by integrating the Australian digital dollar, UDPN is not only improving its own platform, let's blow this up actually, but it's doing what? It's also offering businesses and financial institutions a better way to manage cross-border payments and financial operations. As earlier noted, the AUDD is a multi-chain stablecoin developed by the fintech firm AUDC. It is fully collateralized, which each unit backed 1-to-1 by the Australian dollar. But here's your boy that mashed the stick in the stew. The moment you've been waiting for. The digital currency is accessible on major blockchain networks such as Stellar, XRP, Ledger, and also Ethereum. This means that it can be used for a wide range of services and has very few restrictions in terms of accessibility. That is huge. And again, about this whole topic, about global stablecoin ecosystem, the AUDD is its latest edition. It goes without saying that the what? UDPN has been quite keen on boosting the global digital currency ecosystem. Hence, the reason it previously integrated major stablecoins such as the US dollar, the euro into its system. Notably, these two are already established a strong foundation for global digital payments. Wow. And how about this part? Might be worth noting that the popularity of UDPN is under no question, at least so does its track record, suggesting having already seen tier 1 banks like Deutsche Bank and Standard Chartered test its network for transferring and swapping USD coin, which is USDC stablecoins. We know Stellar's plugged to that. So there's that. UDPN remains an attractive option for financial leaders and institutions across the globe. So my goodness, everybody, to see that, again, there's some things that's just like, we have so much, we get tunnel vision. And I don't say that disrespectfully. Hey, I can get it too. I can get just as much as the next guy. But the point is sharing that. So you saw Ripple XRP. You saw Stellar XLM. Then you go over to the UDPN site. $15,000 a month is what it's going to cost institutions to use that. Yeah. And only those two, also Ethereum, let's face it, there's EVM sidechains. I don't want to get into all that topic about today. But those three were mentioned. So I obviously look at Ripple XRP as still being a huge opportunity, Stellar especially, and thought I'd bring that to you guys. Because, you know, at the end of the day, some people say that this channel is only about good news. Well, guess what? At least I provide research that supports the hypothesis of that good news. So it is what it is. God bless all the people out there who are not on board with Ripple XRP and so on. It's okay. We need to get back to agreeing to disagree. But thought I would share that with you guys because I know some of you guys may send me some DMs kind of down in the dumps. I'm not going to mention who those guys are. But say what you want. Always pay attention to what the institutions are doing. That's what I'm doing. Hopefully that's what you're doing too. I hope that you guys all have a great, blessed rest of your week. We're now at the weekend. And with that said, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you listen to this outline, simply do me a favor and type into the comments UDPN, and I'll know that you listen to the entire outline. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next one.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. Say goodbye to complicated setups and hello to Decent Wallet, the hassle-free solution to your digital currency needs. With just a few taps, you can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.